Former President Barack Obama has pushed back at the criticism he received from progressive Democrats for suggesting that pithy slogans like defund the police may actually prevent real change.
Well, what do you think about the particular slogan, defund the police? And I said, well, that particular slogan, I think the concern is that there may be potential allies out there that you lose. And the issue always is, how do you get enough people to support your cause that you can actually institutionalize it and translate it into laws, structures, and so forth? Well, what do you
All right, now, in a 32-minute interview that aired on Tuesday's episode of The Daily Show, Obama also said nothing made him more optimistic during the very difficult year that was overshadowed by the coronavirus pandemic than the activism that we saw in the wake of George Floyd's murder and Black Lives Matter. Now, I forgot what video we were talking about last week where we were saying that the explanation of what you said didn't really help any at all. Like, I feel like his explanation didn't really, explain. But he did say, he tried to give it a good example of like using Michelle Obama's mom. And I forgot where it was at, but I read this. I just want to read this for you guys really quick. So he says, if a homeless guy, this is what he was trying to say. He said, this is what he was trying to say. If a homeless guy is outside in the middle of the street, sending a mental health worker versus sending a armed, untrained police officer to deal with that might be a better outcome and make us safer. So what do you guys think about that? Like, I feel like that's what he's saying that he was trying to say about the defund the police snappy slogan.
What?
As I said, his explanation didn't really help me.
It didn't really bring it back around.
What I get from what he said is words, like I said last week, words matter.
Right.
Context matters. Like word choice matters. That's what I get from what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the word pithy is used, because pithy means fluffy. It means superficial. Like cute. And defund the police. He's basically trying to say that the connection between the word choice and the actual definition of what it actually means, there might be like a kind of like loss in translation there.
Right.
That's just what I take from it.
It's a
tough
GOP
one.
talking point, and it's not tough for me. It's a GOP talking point,
for
and
me.
They don't need the help because here's the thing. It was a little disappointing that even after the criticism and some well thought out criticism, he still was putting his foot down that this is how I feel. The thing is, his way, and a lot of centrist Democrats, they reform. That's been an easier slogan. Mm-hmm. But while President Obama was in office talking about reform, we lost Sandra Bland, Michael Brown, Trayvon Martin, Rekia Boyd. This all happened while nationally we were talking about reform. We have tried it his way. Years after starting to listen to him and trying it his way, George Floyd still died. We've talked about reform. We've been using that. And what's frustrating for me is that for police abolitionists and criminal justice reform activists and people who are for not abolition, but for defunding the police. This is not a new thing for them. For people who have been doing the work for decades, this is not a new idea. But from a national kind of talking point, this is fairly new. And so for this to be so new and immediately we're saying this is not working, at what point are we going to acknowledge that what we've been saying wasn't working? Because going back to reform, which is what a lot of centrist Democrats push for, that wasn't working. We have a laundry list of people whose lives are lost, families who will never see their family members again because that wasn't working.
And I do agree with that. Sorry, go ahead, Demi.
No. I was just going to say, we have our foot on the necks of Joe Biden and Kamala and making sure that they make sure we black. We need black person. And I feel like this is the first time that we're actually, maybe not the first time, but like we're actually making Barack Obama feel like you were probably
pressure.
We need to put some pressure on him, because I don't feel like when he was in office we didn't give him this same energy putting our foot on his neck for change when he was in office.
We were happy with the symbol.
We were happy that he was black.
The fact that he was there.
representation.
Yeah.
He was happy. Thank you, Melissa. We were happy that he was there and like a black person was there, but we really did not put our foot down and tell him what we need. And so if we're doing that for Joe Biden and Kamala and everyone else, we need to give him that same energy and tell him this, like you said, Brooke, this this is not working, and you need to be on our side.
Because he sure as heck doubled down.
He did, and that was so disappointing for me. I like what you said to me. It is okay to criticize the ones that we love and we appreciate. We're not always right.
Nobody's perfect.
Nobody is perfect.
Right?
Yeah. I don't think.
But it's just that if you don't want us to die unfairly at the hands of police, it shouldn't matter what we call it.
Yeah.
Because we're not talking about some little proposition that can slightly change lives here and there. We're talking about death and the actual livelihood of Black people. And if you care about that, it doesn't matter what you call it. And I think we're talking about a bunch of people who don't care.
Yeah. By and large, I don't think that Obama is really used to his supporters criticizing him.
I agree.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, let's talk COVID-19 vaccines now, because Dr. Anthony Fauci was recently asked an important question during a forum hosted by the National Urban League. The question was, can you talk about the input of African-American scientists in the vaccine process? Fauci didn't hesitate, saying the very vaccine that's one of the two that has absolutely exquisite levels, 94 to 95 efficacy against clinical disease and almost 100% against serious disease that are shown to be clearly safe, that vaccine was actually developed in my institute's Vaccine Research Center by a team of scientists led by Dr. Barney Graham and his close colleague, Dr. Kizzmekia Corbett, or Kizzy Corbett. Kizzy is an African-American scientist who is right at the forefront of the development of the vaccine. That's what Fauci said. And, you know, he's talked about Dr. Corbett before. We've told you right here on this show, she is someone who will go down in history as one of the key players in developing the science that could end the pandemic. We've been spending a lot of time talking about Black Americans and their mistrust in our healthcare system, right? And Tuskegee, the Tuskegee experiment comes up a lot. I saw this today, this story, and I thought it was so important. The daughter of one of the men who survived the Tuskegee syphilis study, she gave an interview to Morgan Jerkins, and she said, you know, she wanted to set the record straight on her father's legacy and what she calls ahistorical information. Her name is Lily Head, and she said this, I want to read it. She said, "What I find interesting is that when penicillin became known as the therapy for treating syphilis, those men were denied treatment. I'm having trouble understanding the logic. The men in the study didn't get a vaccine. You are comparing men not getting a vaccine to a vaccine that is available. So how can you compare not having something to the opportunity to have something?" I just liked that we've been using what happened to them. And I think it matters. It's an important historical fact.
Definitely does.
But it is nice to hear from somebody directly related to someone who was immediately affected by that.
I didn't hear a lot about this doctor early on. Maybe I slept on it. I apologize if I did. Did not hear a lot, right? But again, seeing this is trying to bring comfort to our soulmates, so people who look like you and I. I had someone call me yesterday and say, look, why is it that Black people so against getting these shots? And I had to explain to them about the Tuskegee experiment. I had to break it down. A lot of people still don't know the history of that. Right. So once they realize it, then that's like, oh, now I kind of understand why you're resisting.
It was the complete opposite, though, because those men had syphilis and they wanted to experiment on them. So they lied to them, did not treat them. This is different. And so if the theory, I don't want to call it a conspiracy theory because I think that there are a lot of current and past reasons why Black Americans have a mistrust in our healthcare system.
If the argument is.
But if the argument is that the government wants to kill Black people, why help them do it? By not, we're already dying at a disproportionate rate. So why help them when you could stop? Well, I don't know. That's my.
No, I feel like we can just go all day, but I will get in my little soapbox. But
it's okay.
I feel like we always show love to our YouTube soulmates. But right now, while it's on topic, I want to shout out some of our Instagram soulmates that were talking about this actual topic on one of our videos that we posted about getting the vaccine. So someone said, IDK, if she's Janet Jackson, Michelle Obama, or my mama, it's a no for me, dog, for the vaccine.
I mean, that's strong if it's your mama and you still
I know. Someone else said, Joe said, Kazama said, Black doctors, Romeo, you were just talking about this, Black doctors and faith leaders were also involved in the Tuskegee experiment, so it's nothing new under the sun. Then my girl, Miss Tamar Logan, she said, no, a Black man killed Michael Jackson, which that was kind of deep. And then someone else said, Kenya, she said, did the doctor take the vaccine first, which we already talked about that. And then someone else, Fit for Germ, says, does it matter if she's Black? We just want the vaccine to be safe. And I know that's how Melissa and Brooke feel. So feel free to comment and let us know what you guys think. And shout out to all of our YouTube soulmates. We always love you guys. We're going to give them a shout out next break.
It looks like HBO Max executives are going to honor Dave Chappelle's request to take Chappelle's show off the streaming service. According to Variety, HBO Max CCO Casey Bloys made the announcement during a recent virtual event. This is what Bloys told Variety's executive director of TV. "We had a conversation with Dave. I won't get into it, but it's very clear that it's a very unique and specific and emotional issue he's got. So at the end of the year, at the end of this year, December 31st, we're going to honor his request and take the show down." Chappelle already got Netflix to take the show down. You'll remember he talked about it in a stand-up set he posted on Instagram. At that time, Chappelle explained, due to the nature of the deal he signed years ago when the show was made, he does not get any compensation when Viacom CBS license it to streamers like HBO Max or Netflix. So, this is what Chappelle likes to call cancel culture working at its best, is doing what it's designed to do, put pressure on institutions, people, companies that you think have wronged you.
I'm not.
Because at the end of the day, this is a business. So if you own a network and you know you can make money off of licenses, would you continue to do it? We'd be like, yo, sorry, Dave.
I'm not surprised about Netflix because they have so much money with him, but I think with HBO, he got to them. I think that, and I think I'm not necessarily. No, I am a little shocked.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but I think it's a good outcome. I think that we should support Black people, Black creators. I think that when people say, "Hey, this was harmful, I was taken advantage of," you should listen.
It's kind of sad to see it go, though. Like, I mean, like, what was one of your favorite, Chappelle's show skits?
I'm Rick James.
Mine was the racial draft with
Mos Def.
Yeah. Mine was the Fear Factor. But maybe, he doesn't want it off permanently. He just wants them to start paying him for it.
Yeah,
exactly. How can you be upset at him for that?
Not at all.
Not at all.
Okay.
All right. So with that, I wanted to move on and give another quick shout out to our YouTube soulmates. You guys are absolutely amazing. And Marley wanted to know, is this live? So Marley, since you just commented a little bit, yes, we are super duper live every single day.
What
you
up?
Just commented. How would we know? There's no way we can know. So this is super duper live. And just really quickly though, my little Black Twitter moment. Did you guys see Tom Cruise's video of what he was like shouting at his crew about the COVID-19 safety and protocol? Did anyone see that video?
Yeah, we all heard it. Yep.
Yeah. So Brooke actually reminded me of when Tandy Newton said that she felt like Tom Cruise was a awful person on set. She's, of course, half Black. And Brooke, I kind of wanted you to even elaborate what you were saying earlier about how you felt like he was, a white man talking to his crew. What is the word that you used? Bullying. He was being a bully.
It was completely inappropriate.
Yeah.
I think it makes the point, what Tandy Newton said, that this is not an isolated incident. Because here's the thing. She had talked about when she was shooting Mission Impossible 2, he had gotten frustrated with her performance.
Right.
So he had her run some lines with him. And after that experience, she called it a nightmare. She did say, like, he's not a horrible person, but she did call that experience a nightmare. So you have that incident. And I get it. This is difficult for a lot of people. This is about COVID. People are dying, but it was two people wearing masks who were standing a little too close to each other. Right. You've got to take it seriously. That could be a fireable offense. Yes. But are there not better ways to manage people than cussing them out and calling him? And to be fair, because COVID may not necessarily be an excuse, because I don't know if y'all remember, Tom Cruise actually himself recently posted a picture inside a movie theater watching Tenet. So even though, doctors and scientists have been telling us not to do that. So
well, thank you, Brooke.
Does he care that much?
Thank you, Brooke. I agree that they should take you more serious. So I just wanted to have my little Black Twitter moment there.